In the gloomy forest, a furious roar echoed, shaking the ground. The level 25 forest bear, with fiery eyes and a jaw bristling with sharp fangs, unleashed its rage upon the intruder who dared to trespass its territory. Yet, facing the fierce monster, Hyrkan showed no hesitation. He swiftly dodged the bear's deadly attacks. It roared earth-shatteringly, swinging its colossal paw, as large as a boulder, directly down onto Hyrkan's position. The strike carried terrifying power, seemingly capable of crushing everything. The monster's speed was faster than anticipated. Unable to completely dodge, Hyrkan could only raise his arm instinctively. Ah!
Hyrkan slightly tugged his hood, a sharp smile on his face, and snapped his fingers. It's Lord! Now then, at his command, a skeleton warrior, its entire body emanating a blue magical aura, swooped down from above, its sharp sword in hand aimed directly at the giant moss-covered rock bear monster. However, the monster reacted faster than expected. Suddenly, it unleashed a sky-shattering backhand strike. The powerful attack struck squarely in the skeleton warrior's chest, shattering its bones into pieces and sending them flying instantly. Witnessing the scene, Hyrkan clutched his head, his face showing clear annoyance. He snapped, "Did you really think such a predictable attack would work? You must attack from its blind spot. Next one." Immediately, another skeleton warrior darted out from the flank, moving swiftly, aiming directly for the monster's hind leg, precisely as Hyrkan had instructed.
A skeleton warrior shot into the air, raising its longsword high. Its target was the monstrous moss-covered bear standing majestically below. But the monster was not an easy target. It let out an earth-shattering roar. The terrifying moment of impact occurred, and the white-boned warrior was smashed to pieces. Fractured bones scattered across the ground. "Hey!" Hyrkan roared, his face contorted with anger as he witnessed the familiar sight of defeat. His fury erupted. "I told you to attack from its blind spot. Why did you do the exact same thing as the last one? Ugh, this is infuriating to death." Immediately, a new skeleton warrior appeared. Unlike its ill-fated predecessors, this skeleton stood proudly confident, one hand on its hip, the other gripping its sword, exuding a flashy readiness for battle.
Hyrkan's face suddenly flushed red, his eyes wide with astonishment at the scene unfolding. He stammered in utter confusion. "Huh? That guy?" Amidst the chaotic space, one of his skeleton warriors suddenly radiated a brilliant blue energy. It shot up into the air like an arrow, soaring past the giant monster's head. Hyrkan stood frozen, an unbelievable thought flashing through his mind. No way! With a sharp and decisive sword stroke, it plunged straight into the bear with a fatal blow. But the skeleton was slapped by the bear, sending its head flying. Hyrkan felt an uncontrollable rage surging within him. He ran his hands through his white hair, his face contorted in anger. He roared, his furious scream echoing throughout the forest. "You stupid idiots!"
In the quiet expanse of the forest, the skeleton warriors stood motionless, their eye sockets glowing with flickering blue light. Ugh! Hyrkan let out a frustrated sigh, his sharp gaze sweeping over the three skeletons awkwardly holding their own heads. Behind him, the corpse of a giant monster lay motionless on the damp ground. He snapped, "Do you even have brains? Well, I guess not. Now, it's fine. Put your heads back on." Suppressing his anger, Hyrkan began his tactical lecture. "Listen, when monsters are attacked, they will naturally turn towards the source of the attack." As he spoke, he moved, trying to demonstrate for his troops. "That's why you have to attack from their blind spots." To illustrate further, Hyrkan quickly drew a simple tactical diagram on the ground with a dry branch. What will happen if you just charge straight in from where they're looking? In response to his impassioned lecture, the three skulls simultaneously tilted to one side, looking pitifully bewildered. A strange halo of floating flowers and leaves seemed to emanate around them, signifying infinite cluelessness. "Never mind. Damn it, the more I talk, the angrier I get," Hyrkan muttered, feeling helpless against his troops' stupidity. He brought a hand up to his head, pulling his hood down to hide his tired face. He thought to himself, "It's great that my skill rank has increased, and now I can summon 3 skeletons thanks to the effect of the necklace of the corrupted hunter. But the problem is, they can't coordinate."
Hyrkan was deep in thought about what had happened moments before. On the ground, the white bones of two other skeletons lay shattered. I told you to attack from its blind spot. Why did you do exactly what the last one did? Although Hyrkan tried to teach them, the knowledge didn't seem to be applied intelligently. He commanded, "They've all shared what I taught the previous one. Attack! Coordinate together and attack!" However, his command was met only with confusion. All three skeleton warriors stood frozen, scratching their empty skull heads. They simply didn't understand. Because they had never learned how to fight together, they didn't know what to do. Hyrkan ran his hand through his hair, a strained smile contorted with anger. "Costing 3 times the mana, and they're even worse than before," he muttered in despair. Finally, a weary sigh escaped his chest. "Oh well." He straightened up, looking down at the 3 skeletons gazing up at him with empty eye sockets. He said, "I've reached level 20 as desired. I guess I can't make combat videos for now." Hyrkan turned, giving a decisive command. "Get up. We'll train while we walk until we reach Bangtu Castle." With that, he started running, leading his bony army through the dense forest. The skeleton warriors immediately clattered after him. As he ran, Hyrkan couldn't help but sigh to himself. "And I thought I could leave all the fighting to them while I just kicked back, just like a dark wizard should."
Hyrkan forced a wry smile, a mix of resignation. "Guess I can't avoid being at the front," he thought, his eyes glinting with reluctance. He sighed, as he gazed at the blue sky through the dense forest leaves. Below, 3 skeletal warriors stood still, awaiting orders in the hazy mist. The scene moved to the Raider Guild branch, Bangsu Castle. Inside, it buzzed like a market. Adventurers packed the space. From tables to stairs, their chatter and laughter endless. Suddenly, steady footsteps echoed from the second floor, drawing the crowd's attention. The door swung open and a figure emerged, his expression cold. All eyes turned to him. A cry of astonishment erupted from below. "He's out!" Instantly, a wave of shock spread through the room, whispers turning into stunned silence as everyone stared in awe at him.
The atmosphere in the room was stifling and chaotic with frenzied screams. A crowd of players was gathering, shoving and grabbing a poor man, cornering him against the wall. "Get him! What quest did you get? Speak now!" Standing not far away, Hyrkan silently observed the chaotic scene with cold eyes. He lightly pulled down his hood, obscuring half his face. "They're no different from a pack of hyenas," he thought scornfully. "Well, I guess you find these kinds of people everywhere. They don't even try to put in their own effort, only wanting to leech off others." Suddenly, a bald man with a suspiciously ingratiating smile approached from behind, placing a hand on his shoulder. "Hey buddy," the man began, "if there's any good quest, let's—" Before the man could finish his sentence, Hyrkan seized his wrist and violently flung it away. "Get lost," he growled, the iciness in his voice making the man freeze, stammering incoherently. Hyrkan turned and strode towards the stairs. "I can't let them find out I'm doing the Ahimbri quest," he mused, pulling his hood lower and quickly disappearing downstairs.
Hyrkan calmly approached the foot of the stairs, extending a carefully red wax-sealed envelope to the guard. "I bring Hotan's letter of recommendation," he stated clearly. The guard merely glanced at the envelope, then nodded. "Confirmed. Please proceed to the second floor." As soon as Hyrkan was allowed through, the crowd behind erupted into chaos. They shoved each other, trying to bypass the barrier. "I'm with him. Let me up," someone desperately yelled. Hyrkan merely cast a cold glance over his shoulder at the chaotic scene, an indifferent thought crossing his mind. "No, you're not." His footsteps echoed steadily on the wooden stairs, leaving the noisy shouts behind. A smug smile touched Hyrkan's lips as he pondered, "I wonder what reward Ahimbri will have for me. Since it's a hidden quest, it must be good. I need to use this opportunity to build a long-term relationship with him." Finally, he reached the top of the stairs, facing a sturdy wooden door. He gently knocked, calling out with a mischievous smile, "Excuse me." Hyrkan cautiously pushed the door open slightly, peeking inside. But the sight before him made his eyes widen in astonishment, his smile instantly freezing on his face.
Inside the room, a chaotic scene caught Hyrkan's eye, making him secretly astonished. Wow, what a mess! Books were piled high, scattered across the floor, on the table, and even on the already packed bookshelves. A rustling sound came from the far end of the room. Amidst the mountain-high stacks of books, a man suddenly turned around, his expression slightly annoyed at being disturbed. With his glasses slid down his nose, he squinted at the uninvited guest. "Who are you? I don't recall having an appointment today." Hyrkan, with his familiar Haho mask, thought to himself, Huh, is Ahimbri always like this? Despite being somewhat surprised by the NPC's brusque attitude, he calmly stepped forward, offering a letter of introduction. I am Hyrkan. I came here at the recommendation of Sir Hotan. NPC Ahimbri took the letter, adjusting his glasses to read. His gaze swept from the letter to Hyrkan, scrutinizing him. Oh, you still look like an apprentice dark wizard. I suppose you're quite talented for your level. At the somewhat condescending compliment, Hyrkan's cheeks flushed slightly under his mask. He humbly replied, "It's just my luck." However, in his mind, he only had one practical thought. Whatever, as long as I get the reward, it's fine. Seemingly satisfied, Ahimbri nodded. I see. Here is the promised reward.
Ahimbri's hand emanated a mystical purple energy, condensing into 2 skill books that floated before Hyrkan. Immediately, system notification windows appeared before him. You have received Skill Book, Bone Armor. You have received Skill Book, Madness Helm. Hyrkan was stunned as he received the 2 glowing books, his face beaming with boundless joy. He couldn't believe his eyes. He's giving me both, and they both look like ultra-rare items. Before he could utter a complete word of thanks, Ahimbri coldly interrupted. Our business here is concluded then. Another system notification appeared, confirming his words. Quest, Ahimbri's teachings, has been completed. In the quiet expanse of the library, amidst towering stacks of books, Ahimbri decisively turned. As he strode away, he called back, travel safely. Hyrkan's earlier joy instantly vanished, replaced by profound confusion and disappointment. He cried out in his mind, What? Why did the quest end so fast? You're supposed to give me the next quest. Wait, I didn't go through all this just to get a few skills. Realizing Ahimbri was about to leave, Hyrkan unhesitatingly rushed after him. Amidst the mountain-high stacks of books, his desperate cry echoed, Sir!
In a moment of desperation, Hyrkan rushed forward, his hand grabbing the hand of NPC Ahimbri, who stood amidst mountain-high stacks of books. His voice urgently rang out, I'll do anything, please sir, just give me a chance. Suddenly, Ahimbri's hand tightly grasped Hyrkan's as if it were the only lifeline. Standing still amidst the cluttered study, Ahimbri looked down, slowly repeating, You'll do anything? Abruptly, a bizarrely radiant smile bloomed on his face. Ahimbri's eyes widened behind his glasses. He squeezed Hyrkan's hand and exclaimed excitedly, Thank you very much! Before Hyrkan could even comprehend what was happening, a system window abruptly appeared before his eyes. Quest, egg in the nest. Bring back the egg from the nest. Reward, none. A cold current ran down Hyrkan's spine as he read the last line. He tricked me. His face stiffened, his eyes glazed over as cold sweat poured out. His mouth hung open in silence. Only the screams of regret and bitterness echoed in his mind.
The bustling atmosphere of the crowded streets suddenly quieted as a tall figure entirely enveloped in gleaming plate armor strode through. All eyes turned toward him, ceaseless whispers rising from the multitude. Wow, that equipment looks really expensive, doesn't it? A player exclaimed in astonishment, unable to hide their admiration and curiosity. Leaving the whispers and scrutinizing gazes behind, the unfamiliar player maintained a steady pace, crossing a lush green lawn. Before him stood a large building with a towering stone spire, prominent against the clear blue sky and the distant undulating mountains. He stopped, looking up at the building with a determined expression. Through the narrow slit of his helmet, his green eyes gleamed with a sharp light, reflecting an unshakable resolve. The surrounding atmosphere seemed to freeze, leaving only a tense silence. That's where the Ha-Ho mask is, he murmured to himself, his voice deep and firm. In that moment, the scene behind him seemed to ignite in the brilliant red of sunset, signaling an impending confrontation. His fist, encased in an iron gauntlet, clenched tighter, emitting a metallic creak, ready for the destined battle.